Hello Stratters, Nick here, playing a match of Modern with Swan Fire. On the draw, we're going to go ahead and keep this hand, the land in the Serum Visions, and we look to be against either Ad Nauseam or Blue-White Control so the only decks I can possibly think of that play Temple of Enlightenment. So I think probably blue-red is what we want to get here. It's hard to say, but I would imagine Lightning Bolt would be more important against the potential decks that could play those. Could play Temple of Enlightenment. And we found a land, Swans. Ooh, Thopter Foundry, interesting. I want to feign maybe like a Countersquall or some 2-mana removal here, so I'm going to play that untapped. Could also potentially ambush Viper out the Snapcaster Mage if it comes to it. So it looks like maybe blue-white Thopter Sword control. Thopter Sword is a combination that I really enjoy playing. It's such a nice, efficient win condition for a control deck, but it is a little bit vulnerable. Particularly this card here, Kolaghan's Command being printed, made it kind of difficult since you have a main deckable answer for artifacts in the format. Some people even really didn't like it much because the different hate cards people can play. I think I just want to kill that thing right now. So you discard and you get rid of that Thopter Foundry. Just do this while they don't have counterspell mana up. Oh god, is this like a mana tithe? I would... Okay, they're just sacrificing it. That that clearly makes sense that you just make the extra 1/1. Whoa, Lingering Souls. So it's an Esper deck. Makes a little bit of sense to play Lingering Souls in your deck that plays Sword of the Meek, since any 1/1 entering the battlefield triggers Sword of the Meek. So if you like, I don't know, Jace Vryn's Prodigy to discard your Sword of the Meek, or Thirst for Knowledge it away, or whatever you might possibly do, you just put it in your graveyard and then you play a Lingering Souls that gets it back and equips it, and so you get it into play without spending mana on it. So I appreciate what's going on here. This is, again, maybe I'll play a Thopter's Foundry Sword of the Meek deck for the channel at some point. Okay, so there's the sword, and don't really want to kill that considering that they can just recur it if they ever find a black source to flash back the Lingering Souls. I think I just want to get Swans of Bryn Argoll into play, and then hopefully we can make things work and get this Swans through, maybe draw some cards with it. Okay, so they're muddling. They're going to find the foundry, the foundry. Ooh, please play it. Please. Yes. Okay, so now we're gonna Snapcaster and destroy the foundry and probably deal two to the Swans for sick value. We could also just deal damage to the Thopter in play and start bringing the beats. I am so much more of a draw cards guy than a bring the beats guy, though. I want another red source in play for sure. And this deck probably plays path, so I just want to, yeah. Okay, so we're definitely snapcasting, and we're definitely blowing up the Thopter Foundry. The question is, are we drawing 2 cards, or are we going to kill a Thopter? And the answer here just has to be draw cards, right? I mean, there's there's no way that I kill that Thopter. So, blow up the Thopter Foundry, deal 2 to this Swans, and, okay, Countersquall's a good draw. Do I let... If I attack and they block, they draw a card. They're done. Yeah, I'll use like a Fatal Push or something and kill that Thopter. I also wonder how many copies of Foundry they play. Typically, you play 3 and 2, or... Okay. So they could be, yeah, 3 copies of Foundry and 2 Sword of the Meeks is a pretty typical way to build it. Well, don't really have any good attacks because they can just fetch and create another thing. Let's bolt our Swans. Try to draw answers. Sure, Watery Grave. Looks like a Fatal Push. No, nothing. Guess we have an attack with Snapcaster Mage. I shouldn't have played this island. I'm really regretting it now. Because even if we went Bolt and found another Kolaghan's Command, it's not going to do the trick. Push this one, I guess. Yeah, so I messed up a little bit here. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I guess I'll pass. Now they're just gonna go pretty hard here. If we find another Kolaghan's Command, we could maybe get out of this, but it's gonna be pretty difficult, I think, otherwise. Maybe I should have fired off a bolt just to dig deeper. I don't know. So at this point, we need to... I guess I'll let them go as deep on the Thopter Sword right now as they want. I'll bolt my Swans, hope to draw a Kolaghan's Command to blow up the Foundry. Let's bolt our Swans now. Didn't really find anything. See, this is one of the things that I do like about Thopter Sword as a win condition for a control deck. just so hard to interact with, and you gain so much life, and you have all these creatures, and even if they disrupt the combo, you've got a lot going on. Sure, I guess kill that so we don't have to discard. It's probably also not very good. So that. Again, really our only way out of this is to find a Kolaghan's Command and kill the Foundry, and then find a sweeper. Okay, no attacks. What do I make of that? I don't know. I guess I want to fetch to try to get a land out of the deck. Then we're really kind of in the same spot here, so bolt my Swans, draw 3, not draw anything good. Yeah, there's just nothing. Let's just call it. I don't think we can beat it at this point. The opponent should be attacking, but they aren't. So what do I want here? Leyline could be good, given we saw Thopter Sword uses the graveyard, and then they had Lingering Souls. Ours might not be the best. You shave 1. You see anything Spell Snareable? They could have Snapcaster Mages. They did have Lingering Souls, right? So Clique is probably a bit worse. Bring in these Leylines. Maybe a Tasigur to make up for kind of loss in threat density. Might want Dispel. These pushes and terminates actually seem pretty awful also. In fact, maybe I would rather have a sweeper since I saw a lot of token making effects. And terminate is a little bit more all-purpose than push. So bring in these dispels. Maybe Collective Brutality. It doesn't hit their combo pieces, which is an issue. Ceremonious Rejection isn't good because countering Sword isn't particularly good. Nihil Spellbomb is an option. I think Leyline does it a little bit better. I could bring in Keranos or Teferi. Maybe even both. Maybe this removal is just that bad that I'd rather have these. Okay, let's try this out. I guess it is a little bit of a nombo to have Tasigur and Teferi in our deck with still having all the hours, but hours are so good with Swans. I'm in for this. So we'll use our Delta to fetch up a Steam Vents, cast our Serum Visions. And 4th land in a Kolaghan's Command. Guess we'll put Command on top and Delta on top of that, although I can't imagine wanting to shuffle that away. Okay, temple, that's fine. Command. Sure. Couple lands here. Probably just play the Swans. Opponent flashes back souls, and if we draw a fifth land, could set up a really nice turn. Okay, spell Skite. Sword of the Meek, that's all fine. Ooh, do we try to get greedy? And, well, they don't have black mana, so it's pretty unlikely that they will flash back the souls. So let's just get our, oh man, massive card advantage on right here. This is where we're playing the deck. That's right here. This interaction. Sweep the board, draw 5. Okay. Figure out our discards here. Lighthouse is such a nice land I want to have access to it. I guess Terminate isn't very good. We have a redundant Spell Snare. Anything we want we can buy back with the Snapcaster Mages. What's this? Okay, gifts ungiven. So gifts can set up the combo if they use Academy Ruins. So we're going to have to work very quickly with the Swans and this Tasigur because the late game will probably belong to them with the recursion. So I want them to for sure take the 2 off this Noxious Revival. So Foundry for sure goes to the graveyard, and I think also the Snapcaster Mage. We should have Muddle covered. Okay, just fetching a tap land. Also nice that they didn't use the Noxious while we were tapped out because we have a Dispel for it. Also interesting, I assumed that they were going to have an Academy Ruins somehow. No, thank you. I think we are turning the corner here. And I want to get this Tasigur into play. Probably not going to need the Hour of Devastation again, so we'll get rid of that one. So I guess the main things here is that they have Lingering Souls to flash back, so I'll probably have to deal 2 to a Spirit and probably make them discard a card. That's the way I'll play that. And we should have the Muddle covered with Dispel and Spell Snare. Sure. Could also play it slow and activate with Tasigur. Is this a transmute? Sure, there's nothing we can do about a transmute. And yeah, I think I want to do it now instead of activating Tasigur. Discard a card, deal 2 to a spirit. And even though I love drawing cards and I could deal 2 to the Swans to draw some cards, I think we just want to try to win the game here. So we can Snapcaster back Kolaghan's command and clear the way. We have Dispel back up, so we should be good to go. Okay. Well, that game we had, I guess, our combo. The Swans and Hour of Devastation. Exactly what we hoped for. So seeing that, I wonder, is there anything else we could possibly want? Again, Clique's kind of tempting, 'cause if they ever transmute and don't play out the thing, we can click it away, but they have those lingering souls tokens, and souls are just so annoying against a Vendilion Clique. Could bring in engineered explosives. It's probably a card I should have considered, but I don't know what I'd want to cut. Maybe Terminate probably doesn't really do anything in this matchup, so maybe I should just try to side out all my Terminates. Next best option maybe would be a Vendilion Clique. Could be dangerous to take out all our Terminates, but I guess I think we could maybe die to as like a Celestial Colonnade or some sort of manland. We'll try like this. It's probably good enough. We do have some of our more expensive things. We have counter magic. And if we draw some more fetch lands or cantrips, we could get out a Tasigur. Fetch land was a good draw. So probably fetch Blood Crypt. Then probably even play the other fetch land. Sure, so the Meek doesn't really matter to me. It's kind of a do-nothing part of the combo. Yeah, play Delta here, just so if we draw another couple of fetch lands, we can hopefully get out this Tasigur. Opponent on blue mana. Could just be that's what their untapped lands are. Okay. Although the lack of white mana, from what we see in their deck, they do seem to have a lot of white cards. But black mana is just as capable of casting Foundry. And I think we want to get double red. Although double black would be alright, because we could have Tasigur plus Countersquall, potentially. What is this? Transmute. It's fine. Nothing we can do about that. Nothing to cast here. So next turn, definitely gonna play Desolate Lighthouse and pass. So we can have Countersquall plus Dispel. Opponent's got white mana finally. Souls is fine. Okay, definitely gonna loot here. I actually want that fetch land, and question is, so I think this card is either going to be Swans or Keranos. I probably am going to need that Hour of Devastation to clean up some tokens at some point, and I want this fetch land so that I can get out of Tasigur and still have Countersquall Dispel up. I think I'd rather have, well, you can always, well, I guess I can buy back either one if I draw a Kolagha's Command. Although I might have to delve away right now, is that right? So if I crack fetch, that puts me to 4 cards in the graveyard. And, well, I'm going to play it a little bit slow, I think. Again, just leave out counter magic. If the opponent doesn't do much, I can loot and increase my graveyard. If they do, I'll put a Countersquall into the graveyard or maybe a Dispel. And then next turn, I can crack the fetch land and hopefully have enough mana to leave up the things that I want to leave up. That's fine. Can't really do anything about it, and would get swept up in the Hour of Devastation if it happens. Since I have one Countersquall, I think. I'm going to fire off one Countersquall since I have a Countersquall. Sure. That's what they're spending their mana on. That's cool. I could. Maybe now I want to play Swans. So the opponent might use like a Path to Exile or something on the Swans. Sets up for next turn, casting a really nice Hour of Devastation. Triple blue. And white. As much as I don't want this to resolve, I know the opponent has a Foundry in hand, so kind of have to let it resolve. Foundry's the card that I can't let slip into play. Sure, so Snapcaster Mage and Foundry go to the graveyard. The opponent should attack here. I'm not blocking because they would draw cards. So I feel like they maybe aren't quite familiar with what Swans does, so puts it on top. Okay. Or they might be just wanting to preserve their own life total, or just feel like they have the late game, so it doesn't really matter. So opponent's probably going to jam next turn 2 Thopter Foundries. So I think what I want to do is just play this tapped, use 1 Countersquall, and then I guess the second one will resolve. But hopefully I can untap, cast Hour of Devastation, and find an answer. They also just might not go for it, but I feel once you have 2 in hand, it's kind of free to just try to go for it. And they muddle. So this I will dispel. Right, they did put, with the Noxious Revival, they put a Thopter Foundry on top. So their hand is an additional Thopter Foundry. I also kind of want to get this extra 2. So they'll be able to resolve a Thopter Foundry this turn. But I will untap Hour of Devastation and really hope to draw Kolaghan's Command. Again. Okay, command. Yes! Okay. So destroy that Thopter Foundry and probably just 2 to the opponent. Should also make them discard a card. I think that's probably better. Last card in their hand probably has to be decent. I don't think they've been hitting all their land drops. Lingering Souls. So, a good one to get at least. A full Lingering Souls would be pretty hard to... What does LAF mean? Does it mean they're laughing at me? I don't know. Well, we don't really have any good attacks. We can play out Tasigur now, finally, I think. And we'll get rid of... Yes. Dispel... Countersquall, Countersquall. Let's cancel. So we have a Countersquall, so I don't think we need access to that. We should be able to win without a Keranos. We have access to a Kolagha's command. And do we need a Dispel? Probably not. We just probably want to maximize our chances of getting this Hour of Devastation. So probably activate Tasigur and then activate Desolate Lighthouse unless the opponent plays something very threatening. That doesn't really qualify as threatening, although it's if they put all of them on that one spirit will be formidable enough to live through an Hour of Devastation, I guess. So, activate Tasigur. Probably get this Swans back. And we'll loot. Just get rid of the land. Leyline of the Void isn't very good right now, but I want to cast it. Just so we don't have to worry about the combo now anymore. And that's good enough for the opponent. Yeah, so I guess after Leyline resolves, we have the ability to just kind of fire off our Kolagha's command however we want. Probably what we would do is destroy a sword, make them discard, and then that would free up the ability to Hour of Devastation. It's hard to say exactly what would happen. Lightning Bolt, that's a good draw. Snapcaster Mage. Leyline. Yeah, we're probably pretty ahead at that point. We do have to do something about this massive spirit, but just the card advantage that we got from burning our swans with Hour of Devastations, Lightning Bolts, and Kolagha's commands was too insurmountable, and then looting away to the relevant cards with Desolate Lighthouse. Well, that was a lot of fun for me. Hopefully you had a lot of fun watching that. Thanks for viewing Stratters.